All right, you've probably seen the headlines. Denise Richards breaking down in court describing years of alleged physical and emotional abuse from her estranged husband, Aaron Vipers. The details are gut-wrenching. Claims of being grabbed, choked, even attacked just hours of having major surgery. It's the kind of story that ricochets through the internet at the speed of light. But for those of us who work in divorce and family law, we see something different. Not the gossip, but the gravity. Because beneath the celebrity sheen, this is a case that plays out in family courts every single day all across the country, only without the paparazzi waiting outside. Now here's what most people miss. In family court, allegations don't need to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt like they do in criminal cases. The standard is much, much lower. It's about credibility, consistency, and the safety of everyone involved. When someone stands in front of a judge describing abuse with this kind of detail and emotional intensity, the court listens, and judges don't need a jury verdict to act. If the testimony sounds credible, and if it's supported by even a thread of corroboration, things like medical records, text messages, witnesses, or just the timing of how the events folded in to the allegations, it can shape the entire trajectory of a case. And in Massachusetts, just like in California, that often means temporary restraining orders, custody protections, and emergency hearings that happen super fast. Now here's the hard part, because in cases like this, public opinion moves faster than the legal system. When allegations like these go public, the entire dynamic shifts. Lawyers suddenly find themselves managing not only the courtroom, but the court of public opinion. One side releases statements of denial, and the other pleads for safety and privacy. And in the meantime, the internet is already handing down its own verdict. The problem is that the legal system can't afford to react emotionally. It has to wade through the evidence, every text, every timestamp, every doctor's note, to decide what's real, what's manipulation, and what's just noise. And make no mistake, these cases are not just about two people fighting. Allegations of abuse can change everything, from who keeps the house, who sees the children, who's paying support, and who is ultimately believed. That's why these cases are some of the most complex in family law, because they blend heartbreak, trauma, and strategy all into one. So what should you take away from Denise Richards' case? You're not a Hollywood actress, but just a regular person going through something similar. First, documentation is everything. If something happens, take photos, keep records, and make sure someone else knows about it. Family court is built on paper trails and credibility. Second, understand that once you raise allegations, the story itself becomes evidence, which means consistency and truthfulness are key. Emotional breakdowns might move hearts, but evidence is what moves judges. And third, protect your privacy wherever you can. Once a case becomes public, even in a small town courtroom, it takes on a life of its own. And sometimes that attention can do a lot more harm than good. And for all the noise around Denise's courtroom tears, what I see is a reminder that family law isn't about fame or fortune. It's about safety, stability, and truth. Abuse allegations are never easy to prove, never easy to hear, but when they're made with courage and supported by facts, the system can and does respond. At the end of the day, this isn't about who's lying, who's trending, or whatever. It's about the evidence and what the evidence will show. And lastly, it's about whether the court can protect someone before it's too late. And that is what we do every single day. Take stories full of chaos and fear and turn them into something the court can actually understand and wrap its hands around. Because no matter how famous you are, the courtroom doesn't care about your IMDb credits. It cares about proof. I'm Ellen Wright, and this has been a tough one, but a necessary one. Because the scariest part of abuse isn't always what happens behind closed doors. It's about what happens when you finally have the courage to open them.